Peace. Love, love. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I think I have a timer on my phone for social media where I give myself like 2 hours a day. I think maybe an hour and a half a day. And I think I've already exceeded that. It's trying to time me out. So I might have to come back out and come back in. So yeah. Peace. It's Tuesday Tea. It is Tuesday Tea. I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to ground myself where I am because I have been running back and forth. So, you want to take a deep breath with me? I'm so grateful to be here, be present. It's just so much going on. Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, yeah, yes. You coming in? Just checking in. I hope I don't get logged out here. I was just saying that I'd have this timer on my social media and I just got a 5-minute mark. So hopefully it doesn't kick us all the way out, and I don't know how to change it right now until it gives me the option. So yes, I'm gonna bring sister in right now. Yes, peace y'all. It's Tuesday Tea. Come on, sip your tea with me. I just had to take a few moments of gratitude.
Yes. Yes.
We are here.
I love it. The double joy day. Hey.
Oh my gosh, yes, a weekday, right? We are just living life completely different right now. Don't you love it?
Happy Tuesday. I didn't even make tea. I just have my water here, but
Okay.
it's like a
That works.
cleansing the palate. How are you?
I am well. I'm just like, I'm hoping that I was just talking about, I have a timer on my phone. I'm giving myself limited time for social media.
Got it.
I just saw the 5-minute thing go off, so I'm like, oh, I hope it don't kick me out. So if it kicks me out, because I don't know how to reset it, I'm gonna bring us back in. So
Okay, that sounds good.
So that's where I am. I'm trying to balance it all right now,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, just kind of unpacking some things from back home, and like really kind of integrating a lot of meditations, and like I guess I'll call them downloads. A lot of people do, but
Yes.
just trying to like literally integrate. Lots of my sleep patterns have shifted, and like even eating habits. Like it's so interesting that we're moving through Chiron in retrograde and Mercury's gone direct, and so I just feel like cosmically a lot of other things are aligning. And I was just telling another friend the other day, like it feels like we're all kind of on the precipice of something. I'm not sure what it is yet. That has yet to be revealed, but we're in motion. This is what it is. We're doing it.
Yeah. Same thing. I woke up and my sister friend was like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm just excited. And she's like, I was like, Mercury is direct and I feel the movement finally.
Yes.
I mean, things have been moving in divine alignment anyway. But for the last week, I felt like it was like, okay, something else is about to come.
Right.
And yeah, so it's just, I'm just ready. I'm just here for it. Like, I'm glad to be here during this time, during this era where, we are really balanced. We're really calling it to balance the scales. Like, yeah.
Loving it. And I was thinking that too, right? Like, because Mercury has gone direct, and just like realigning and resetting, kind of taking into account everything that you've maybe put on pause during Mercury retrograde, and now are like catapulting that forward. And hopefully you've done a little bit of like, homework on like these feelings that Chiron is bringing into play, like neglect and abandonment and things like that. I mean, I feel like collectively, the collective I am is going through that. We're all in a grieving process too, right? Like as the veil is kind of being peeled back layer by layer, there's a lot of grievance in that too, because this has been echoed, sentiments, but the world isn't the same as we know it. So right, still moving along, still grieving, but I really do feel like this like participatory call to action into the greater collective I am is really blocks. Are we paused? Oh, there we go.
All right, good. Okay.
Good catch.
Good.
Yeah, like
Yes.
just like what are we doing? What are we building? What are we harmonizing? You know, I think in terms of like tone and frequency, like ninth, 12th, 13th dimension.
Yes, yes. So I just want to like first I want to bring like introduce you.
Yeah.
I'm Joy Rosa.
Hi. Peace, peace.
Works acupuncture. You might have seen that she has interviewed me on my practice a couple of months back, right before COVID happened, or right when COVID happened. I think we were talking about it. Like, yeah. So yes, out in Portland, Oregon, right now, right? So
I
yes.
am.
Yeah, so yes, thank you for coming in and sipping with me and chatting with me.
Yes.
So yes, you are like all about astrology and cosmology and how we move with that energy, consciously or unconsciously, whether we know about it or not. It's all directing us and ruling over us. So as I'm listening to you talk about Chiron, can you give us like what is Chiron like?
Chiron, yeah, Chiron, great question. It's the wounded healer, right? So depending on what sign it is in your chart, you can look this up through your birth chart. You know, you need to know your birth time as well for people that are unaware. But once you find out what sign it's in, you can also look at it in terms of what house it's in. So perhaps your wounded healer might be in your family and marriage house. You know, you might have some sentiments that need, you know, some light shed on it and some healing and positivity there in order for it to kind of be cleared and healed. It just depends. You know, mine is in Gemini, so you know I have, you know, a little bit of work to do, but I find that interesting too, because Gemini, to me, they're twins. It's a mirrored reflection of, you know, as within so without. So that's kind of how I'm taking like the different steps about what I feel like Chiron is doing for me in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Something I signed up for, so.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So when I think about that, like when you were talking about in the collective, so we're all like going through that wounded healing momentum of like where exactly, not only in our personal experiences, but our experiences that we through the collective, like how we're impacting each other. So that's why, you know, these race wars are coming up, or whatever you want to call it. It's coming up right now because now is the time to really deal with, you know, where are the wounds? Where's the damage being done, and how do we bring in the healing?
Oh my God, you're hitting it on the head, because I was thinking about this in terms of like, how do I integrate my own frequency, right? Because I feel like everybody's kind of getting this collective upgrade individually, but then there's like some pause periods of, you know, how does that kind of shuffle in the deck, so to speak, of life. So like, when you're talking about collective healing and harmonizing these three principles of just like being human, right?
Yes.
Health, death, living, you know, where am I helping to raise the frequency and the vibration? And you and I had kind of chatted a while ago about like, oh, we should maybe like, you know, like integrate like the 42 ideals, you know, like let's talk about this. And I think a lot of things for me are like, if you segment those 42 laws, I think for me it's like keeping kind of my own counsel, which is allowing me to help keep my vibration steady, and then people will either fall away or meet me there, you know. And that's no judgment on anybody either. It's just we're all kind of at different shifts in our own nature and in a greater collective. And you know, as long as we're all kind of like doing the work towards, you know, positively healing and creating this new earth, hey, I'm all for it, you know, like like I'm all for it, for connecting and creating.
Yeah. And I think about, that's definitely the ideals of Mayat, right? I mean, and then as we think about what are our own personal frequencies, Mayat is where is my part in the whole? You know,
Right.
you look at the whole picture. How do I my one little speck, in the universe, you know, how does that affect the whole you know, collective of movement, of energy, of healing, of damage, of chaos, of all of those things. I had posted last week how I was moving through this energy of like of transference of power of energy, right? And recognizing, oh, white privilege is really about them wanting like to have complete power. That's what the supremacy, you know, the white supremacy is about, wanting to have complete control. And I'm like,
And I'll
nothing
add,
in this universe has complete power.
yeah, and I'll add too that it's not only trying to obtain this complete power, but they feel collectively entitled to that power,
Yes.
which is like, huh?
Right.
Look at this. J Poetry is like, yep.
Right.
You know,
It's,
you
yes.
know.
It's because it is laughable. It's like how
It's absurd.
And that but that's where the damage come in, because it's if you take complete control. We've seen that done with Mother Africa. We've seen that done with Mother Earth in a whole. When you deplete the resources of something, it throws off the balance. Yeah. It throws off the balance. So yeah. So but what we can do is we can participate. We can participate in the I am and the whole of it. You know, and that's moving through Mayat, and that's recognizing the principles of Mayat. Is that where in my daily practice, in my daily life, am I upholding the harmony? Am I keeping peace? Am I not stealing anyone else's joy? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Ah, hi, Sacred Melanin. Yes.
If you're coming in, share, like, comment, question. We love it all.
Yes, you know, I was thinking that too, like when we're talking about dualities, right? Because there's white supremacy and then there's living in the collective I am. And those are two very different vibrations. And when you're talking about supremacy, and we're not talking about supreme math and comedic science, we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about, right, who gets to be healthy? Who gets to live? And in this duality, you're talking about what does death really mean, right? And then in its reflection, what is life then? What is it? What are we doing here? You know, a lot of people are talking about like, you know, what's the purpose of life? What's the purpose in my life? And it's like, it don't gotta be big. You don't gotta be, you know, anything other than who you already have come to be. Like there's no secret to, I don't know.
And it doesn't have to look like a huge impactful thing, because again, just that one little speck, it's enough. It's enough to impact everything. Yeah. And I think sometimes, especially like, we get on the bandwagon of thinking that we have to do all of these things, because then we're thinking of efforting, right? And we're thinking of, we have to work for it. We have to be worthy of it. We have to serve it. All of those things. Yeah. And again, if we bring that into context, those are still white supremacist, concepts.
Exactly. Yeah. Like to try to get away from that, because what would the difference be then? If we're talking about harmony and resonance, then this is dissonance. Mm-hmm. This is also cognitive dissonance in some regards too. Like, hello, like y'all ain't making no sense.
Yeah, not at all. It's so interesting. It's so interesting.
I'm trying to think too about like, you know, what are our next big moves? You know, like the folks are in Louisville right now, I believe. Until Freedom, their movement is there right now. Like they're also on IG Live. Tamika Malloy, like they're all out there. And I'm thinking like, you know, while we're still marching, you know, for justice for Breonna Taylor and, you know, all others, then what is the next step towards this kind of collective healing? That would be my question. And I've been pondering this too, like when we're talking about like redistribution of wealth, then what does that look like? Because right, like more money, more problems, to be honest. Like what are we going to do with that? If someone gave you $1 million, is your heart going to feel healed? I mean, you'd be able to get a hell of a good therapist, but like what does that actually mean for us, by us?
We're still talking about capitalism.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I had an interesting situation today. So Asheville right now, we're so if you're not paying attention to me, if you want to go back and forth, Asheville City Council is now to deal with Black reparations. We got it on the agenda. So we are dealing with just what does that look like? What does reparations look like for this community here? And today we started, Noir Collective here, which is Black business operating, bringing Black back to the block, which is very important for Asheville, where a lot of all of the Black businesses were pushed out during gentrification. And so we are very, very just really, really wanting to mother and nurture this project of bringing Black business back in Asheville. And so
now, where is this located?
It is located downtown, 39 South Market Street, downtown, right connected to the YMI. Right. So yes. We are in partnership with them, and we're working through just entrepreneurship, youth development, all of that. It's beautiful. It's just blossoming so beautiful. But yet here we are, and we had a Karen situation today where someone walked in and decided that it was reverse racism, that she couldn't have her products in our space. And the question I just asked her, I said, well, this is about equity. If you don't see any other Black spaces in Asheville, why do you think that your stuff has to be here?
That's that entitlement piece.
Yes. And that's where I feel like, again, if it wasn't tied to the dollar, it wouldn't feel like she had that much power to be entitled to that piece. So my son was so over it. He was like, I'm tired of I hate capitalism, and I get it. But until we figure out another system, a system where it's equitable and where we can all benefit from it, we have to at least introduce these ideas of let's figure out how we can have our own. Right. And you all can support us in that. Right. And that's it.
Right.
That's it.
Right. I just feel like there's some sort of deeper dive within collective shift in consciousness that is making this. I mean, maybe that's also part of what this, Chiron retrograde is going to bring into the light too. Like, why would there be a need of white supremacy? Like, what feelings of neglect or pain or abandonment is on this other side? I do from time to time try to stretch my mind around, like, well, what gives? Like, I guess I should know. I also love chess, so I'm trying to read my opponent here. You know what I'm saying?
Literally, read the black and white. Literally, like, okay.
Yes. And, I'm just trying to think about, like, in what ways, like, while I am trying to align with myself, with my higher self and my purpose, in what ways am I also being like a lighthouse, so to speak, or perhaps at best a beacon for, people on the other side of the chessboard to be like, oh, that looks better and healthier than what's going on over here, So those are kind of the ways I feel like I try to like create harmony as a collective and like make this sort of resonant tone. I love music too, so like I'm just speaking into tones and vibes, all vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm working through. I mean, I've done work. I do racial equity work. So I sit down specifically with Building Bridges. It's a group here to where we actually talk about white supremacy in multicultural settings. So we sit in these small groups and we discuss, white people dealing and processing through the white privilege and Black people expressing their experience. And while we're trying not to re-traumatize, it is traumatizing. Right. Just to be in these spaces. But yet it's healing being done because now we're educating, we're processing, we're healing, we're discussing in a as safe as possible situation. And so we're probably providing the language to be able to do so. So I'm able to do that, and I notice I'm able to do that in certain settings, but to me, I'm just at this place where, I'm balancing the warrior goddess and the healer, right? So it's like, okay, you come to me with a certain energy, and this is I'm also recognizing that there's instant consequences happening right now, right? Mm-hmm. So where, you bringing this energy to me, and I'm going to give it to you straight, no sugar, right? Just the straight medicine that I'm bringing in to you. Because,
black coffee.
Right. Yes, very strong.
Yes.
I even earlier today when that lady came to me it just got, it gets to the point where now all the emotions, yes, I'm triggered. Yes, I'm triggered. And now I'm giving that back to you. And so you can hear it in the inflections of my voice. It might sound like I'm angry.
Right.
But before, when, when they go to that angry Black woman, before it was like a defensiveness, but now it's like, yes, I am. And I have every reason to be. I have every reason to be.
I told you for 500 years, don't press the goddamn button. And here you are.
Right. Exactly. Of course I'm angry. That is a human emotion I'm allowed to have.
Yeah, I'm allowed to have this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's another thing too, like just trying to like, I'm out in Portland, Oregon, which is like one of the whitest places that you could possibly be. Mm-hmm. And the supremacy here is thick. Like, it's like some like day old oatmeal that you can't even stir no more. Like, it's just like, oh, I don't know about this. And the amounts of it out here right now is very different from the South. The South is the future. Hashtag that shit, because the South is the fucking
nice.
Okay. But like here, there's so much, like Portland, Oregon was founded as a white supremacist state. They were not allowing emancipated, slaves and newly freed men to move here. And then when you get in here, like the racial divide and the segregation is so deep and impacted. It's like an impacted tooth that you would need to like pull out, which is, I think it probably was like my first year here, I've been here 6 years now, but it's far too long for me. But I'm homesick.
I bet. I was out there 6 months and I was over it.
And but the segregation is real, and I didn't really realize how real it was until about like half a year in, because like I had a lot of friends here who were already living here. They're white, but and they were like, oh, Portland's the place, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Portland's weird, but that's like code for white supremacy. That's why it's weird.
Yeah,
that's why it's weird. Straight up.
Wow.
and so it's been like really tough to navigate and to try to kind of think about myself as like, oh, well, I have agency. I'm going to follow my inner guidance. I'm going to hold my own counsel, and I'm really going to try my best to navigate my way around here and keep my vibration steady. When we're talking about triggers, I hear you because I feel like it's just like a daily here as everywhere. Yeah. But like, it just feels so highlighted here. Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of postulations now at this point. Like, I've literally had people move out of the way and like bow to me and go, here you go, like while I walk through. And I was like, that doesn't feel, it's like affirmative action. I get to cut in line, like for groceries or something. Like, you think that's going to work?
It's like, okay. I'll take that and. I'll take that and. Everything.
But we're seeing this nationally too. Let's paint the sidewalk. Let's, like not say master bedroom. Like, I don't need that. I need you to hold your people accountable and, give Brianna some justice. Like, exactly. What are we doing?
Exactly. Yeah. And even, I want to speak on that, on Breonna Taylor. I want to speak on the rhetoric that's coming around her name. I'm seeing it becoming a meme. And we went from hashtag to meme, right? So now everything is, I'm having a cup of tea. By the way, Breonna Taylor is, still
right.
Needs to still be, it's just. But where are we actually in action? Let's not forget the action.
Right.
So I appreciate us wanting to see justice, but again, let's be mindful about how we replace one thing for another.
Right.
So we replace the hashtags for memes, and and although social networking has mainstreamed this social justice, this racial justice movement, we just want to be mindful of where the boundaries are between action and just performative.
Yes, absolutely. And those are great points. And one that I want to kind of add on to is largely we're talking about abolition of a police state. That's huge. Yeah. It's bad when white people are like, yeah, abolish it. Like, what? Yeah. Really?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
all right, you on board, about time.
Right. Yes, yes, huge thing.
But I'll say this too, we're at the same dichotomy. You want to abolish the state, but we want justice for Brianna. What does that look like? What does that look like now?
Exactly.
I
We
would
need full
love,
transparency in that. We need full
yes.
transparency. We need you to like really, yeah, tell us how it's going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Be done and when.
And when?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how many days is this now in the hundreds? Like,
Yes.
that's absurd. That's
Yes.
just absurd. And just moving forward, I feel like astrologically speaking, and I have quite a few astrologers as friends, so they can tell you much more than I ever could.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a mere visitor in this in this realm. But what I do know though is that the real jump off isn't until 2021. We're not even at the top of summer yet. I hate to say this, but I think people should be cognizant and aware and conscious of this to mentally prepare. We need to mentally prepare ourselves. If we are really talking about spiritual warfare, then one of the quickest ways is the things that you're ingesting and watching. Look at all this trauma porn that's happening. It's like one after another.
Yes. Yeah.
And what are we doing to reroute that kind of trauma? We're already living it by just existing, but what are we actually doing in order to create, harmony for ourselves, within ourselves, and to keep that vibration steady flow? Like, how do we do that collectively and hold each other accountable individually while we're doing this?
I
These
know
are
a couple of weeks back I had to, yeah, because adding on the racial justice actually in movement and protest was a whole another just weight, and trying to move into the world. And so, just of a couple of weeks ago, I finally had to, come to my altar space and say, okay, where exactly am I supposed to give my attention today? Where am I giving my attention and my energy today? And is it for my highest good and for the highest good of the collective? And
right.
and instantly I saw a not just the removal, but a focus in the things I was doing in my day. So it went from, okay, where are my strengths? Where's my focus already been? Where am I in alignment doing? And that's where the Noir Collective came in with, okay, I can provide that equitable base of like bringing in entrepreneurship and businesses and,
Yeah.
and financial stability back into this area. We
Right.
start talking about where our wealth, how we base our wealth. And so I had to just redirect the energy. So that was where I was able to come from a place of like this being like a very, very heavy weight to feeling like, oh, this is something I can move in. Something I can actually see where it's healing instantly.
Right.
Just being present in that space is healing for the community.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so that's, I encourage us all to just figure out, just that prayer. I have a couple of, my students and clients that I'm working with that I offered that prayer to just, just for self, asking your ancestors, where is my intention and my energy going? And to make sure it's for my highest good, for the collective's highest good, and for my destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Similar prayer. Yeah. Similar, like waking and going to bed. It's just like, all right, do your work through me, like go on. Really, I feel like what I was saying at the beginning of this, like, sleep patterns have changed and diet has kind of changed, and I'm vegan as well, but like every Tuesday it's almost a water fast, really, and that just like happened organically, and it feels like that's just the day. I can't even remember what day Tuesday is. Is it Mars? I don't know.
Yes, Mars Day.
Okay. And yeah, my Mars is in Aries, so I don't know. There's some parts to that.
It needs that cool water. It
Yeah,
needs to keep it tempered.
And I was trying to think too about like, is it Ogun's Day? Is it yeah? So there's a little bit of balance for the yin to the yang.
Exactly.
So that's like what I'm thinking of when I'm on my Tuesdays. And also Tuesdays are usually like an early rise day. I woke up at 5:30 this morning, like prayerfully 5:30. It was like, boom, I have to wake up, I'm ready to go. And just kind of mentally prepare. And that's how I feel about, you know, the days so far. It's just like, yeah, really mentally and spiritually preparing for the journey ahead, because
and I love getting back into the movement of the energy of the day. I have my booklets where the meal plan booklet actually gives you the breakdown of the color of the day, and then we go into the planetary alignment. And one of my sister friends came to visit, and she was like, "Thank you for reminding me, peace. Thank you for reminding me about the colors for the day, the energy of the day." And that we don't, again, that's one of those unconscious, conscious things where we don't recognize that energy is really, really ruling us, really fueling us in many ways. Right. So yeah, instantly when you're thinking about that being, you know, that fire energy, and you bringing that cool water into that, that's balancing. And so that's something that I'm also recognizing as the season change. Summer, as soon as it gets summer, my body is like, we need to fast, we need to stop eating this, we need to, you know, eat lighter, you know, certain things. I'm waking up with the sun, you know, and just paying attention to that, because that is how our vital energy, our life force energy is being taken care of when we pay attention to those things in our body. And gratefully, we are able to slow down now enough to be able to do that, because the world has changed. Everything has changed. The way we live, the way we work has changed. And now if we start paying attention to those little cues, we can say, oh, you know, like for me, it's always taken me a long time to get in my body in the morning. But now I'm actually able to do that, to take that 2 hours it takes for me to get into that space and before I move into the world. And I'm grateful for that. You know, I don't judge myself when my sleep patterns change. You know, it's just something that my energy is adjusting to what's going on in the cosmos. So
that's how I feel too. Woo, let me tell you, when solar flares hit, I'm awake. It's like I'm a night owl. Like, oh my God, that one came far too close to Earth. Hold on.
That's amazing.
I'm like little Icarus, like, ooh, no, don't. Like, wait a minute.
See, that's how I feel every full moon.
Moon,
I'm like, high energy. You know, I'm a moon baby, so it's just high energy. Like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I can't do anything.
That's very funny too, because a lot of my chart too, I might be giving away too much information, but like a lot of my chart is actually in retrogrades. So I bode fairly well during retrogrades, but a lot of my chart is in all of my outer planets. So this lifetime has really been quite a spiritual quest, actually, which is so kind of apropos for the I'm a Leo sun, Leo moon. So I'm like, yeah, Lion of Judah, here we go. Let's go. Let's get this.
All I could think was burn Babylon.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
But also, in taking that a step further too, like when I'm thinking about this like really big cosmic dance that we're doing with each other and with our own like planets, and like you're your own solar system. So when I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about, you know, like really embracing my highest self, like, and a lot of, you know, I'm human, you know, so like that doesn't always come through, but when I am conscious about it and I want to, you know, be in alignment with that, that allows me to see other people in their own sovereignty as well. Even if you're like not on the same page as me, you know, because like people that are showing up in these collective meetings, we ain't all on the same page, and we're all at different levels, and they're really at some point I have found myself like consciously suspending judgment of like, I'm in Portland, half of them don't know what I'm talking about, you know. When I say diversity, equity, and inclusion, they go, oh, you mean you want to be first in line at the grocery store? I'm like, no, girl, no.
I swear that's what happened today when I was like, have you heard of equity? And she was like, I'm like, well, okay, now we have to take it back, because I assumed that you did, and that's my fault. Yes. But yeah, there is this beautiful play, and you know, I think about nature. You know, when I talk about I am presence, I can just I'm so grateful to be in the mountains because it's a constant reminder of this vastness, of this yes, of this just something so expansive, but yet it's all these different ecosystems, you know, in harmony and collaborating with one another, and some of them, you know, they depend on other one, you know, in this life cycle in order to sustain. But it's still this beautiful surrendering process that happens.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that starts to play out in this balance and in this in the way that we are trying to figure out how to get rid of this virus of white supremacy and figure out how we can live harmoniously and in love, and everybody can be fed and everybody can have. And,
Right.
you know, once we figure out what we're all here to do,
Right.
and it's not to destroy each other,
Yes.
just the bountiful, like just the
Right.
green that can come out of that.
I love that you have equated that. I mean, because it is. I mean, we're going through two pandemics, you know, and one's been ongoing. But it's really key that we hone in on that because, you know, a virus needs a host. And that's kind of what we're seeing. And, you know, I'm of a firm believer in, you know, like things like the Great Flash and, you know, things like that. So it's like, it's coming, you know, like people better be ready for, you know, a higher state of consciousness and being. And that's what I'm talking about with mentally preparing, like honoring your values, living in your truth. And what does that actually mean for different people, right? Because if you were to say this and put that into, and we've seen this over time, we've seen our culture being stolen and twisted and appropriated and misappropriated over time. So when you say something like honor your value systems and live in your truth, well, white supremacy could say we've been doing that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
Exactly.
no. It's just for you select few. It doesn't mean that it's an inclusive whole. And you know, that's kind of like, I think one of the outer layers of that virus, if you were to look at it like under a microscope, right? You know, like there's that like hard outer shell of a viral cell.
Yeah.
And that's what's cracking right now, which is awesome.
Yeah. It so is. I was having my moment. You know, I am a therapist who has a therapist, so I truly believe in that. And I was having a moment yesterday where I was just discussing this this realization that I had with, I have been seeing different mentors of mine and different sisters of mine talk about how they are dismantling their own internal racism. And I didn't understand that construct. I didn't understand exactly what they meant by that. And then I realized that a lot of my ambitions in life were based upon what I thought I had to have in order to live into this world, right?
That is a highlight. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow. And so when I finally relieved myself of like, just by saying, I no longer have to fit into that, I can co-create what it means for me to be whatever, what it means for me to have this, what it means for me to do this, without feeling like I have to do this first in order to get that.
This sounds like people have done, what do they call it? Like gene keys and like things like that. Have you heard of this? It's sort of like, you remember Myers-Briggs, your therapist, remember that kind of stuff? It's similar, but you're also kind of like looking at astrology and things like that. And there is something in terms of like a manifesting generator. You know, you'd have to like plug in all your information, but that sounds akin to that, meaning all of this is going on in the exterior. But when you are coming in with your full present self, you're not only manifesting, but you're generating that for people. You know, you're emitting those frequencies, and people can either love it or leave it, you know? And the people that love it are also going to raise that frequency and usher in that new kind of guidance and integrity and things like that. And that's powerful. And if people really understood the power that they have, that's why that's why there is something like white supremacy. You know, it's the tamp, you know, on top of that. It's like, oh, we got to squash this quickly. Like, you can't.
Yeah, you can. I had these moments where I'm just thinking of like the Maya wings. And when I think about that, I'm thinking about how the wings of the wind that just reverberates off of the wings, right? It causes a ripple that will affect the way that a seed, you know, comes off of a tree and plants itself somewhere else. And so when everything that we are doing, all this dismantling that we are doing, and even in ourselves, it causes these ripples and sends these messages out. When you talk about vibrations, it sends these messages out to everything in our environment to tune into that and so that it can nurture whatever we're trying to manifest. So when we think about it and not in a construct of having complete control and complete power over something, but yet how can I co-create this harmonious experience that I can have, and it can also feed somewhere else. It's such a bigger conspiracy that
yeah, right.
It's
a powerful prayer.
Yes.
It's a living prayer. That's what's happening, you know. And what, I have a question for you, like what are you doing in terms of, you know, manifesting and generating? Like Noir Collective, I assume, is one of these avenues for you.
Yes. That was me also realizing, okay, what is this? What did this virus do in order for me to what did it bring to me? It brought me the message of, now I'm no longer having to sustain like this 9 to 5 in order to whatever I have to do, which I never really had to in the first place, but I thought that I did. And so now we're having to come together in community in so many different ways in order to support one another, to heal one another, in order to make sure people are fed. And, you know, we're like doing all these different things. Yeah. So this manifestation came out of this process of like years of living collectively, living intentionally, of doing these different collectives. I see my sister on here from Healing Springs Pharmacy.
Yes, hi.
Collective co-ops, you know, in Greensboro. And it's just it's this accumulative manifestation over the course of my life where I'm seeing, oh, that wasn't even about necessarily me having to carry all of the things, even motherhood, by myself. Like, where does community fit in this? You know, where am I collaborating in a collective, in a collectiveness, and how I'm moving in the world? So the decisions that I make are not just my own. The decisions that I make are affecting those people in my community.
Yes.
And so, yeah, Noir Collective came from that. It came from this idea of like, yes, I'm trying to hold up all the things that I do and all my different businesses and creative, you know, aspirations by myself. But yet when I bring it into this collective community, we are able to fuel one another and support one another and bring ideas and balance, and somebody else bring in the financial part of it and all these different things. So
did I get...
are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, all right. I see you froze.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're just froze.
Oh, rats.
It's spinning. Maybe you'll come back in. But yeah, so it's this that's how things are manifesting. So it's manifesting not just for me, but for those that I am in community with.
Oh, I wonder if I should log off and then come back in.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for
it. Let's
it.
try that. Let's see.
Peace. Thank you for everybody that has held the container. Love. Held the container as we are chatting and sipping our tea with Joy Rosa of Earthworks Acupuncture. And let me go ahead and bring her back in. All right, let's see if that works. Might be having a connection.
Yeah, look at that energy. It was powerful.
Right, it was like ripple. So I just sent you all kind of collective love. Yes.
It's so good. I was actually going back to your imagery of Mayat's wings, I had this, you know, I was just chilling one night here with some music on, and I thought about these principles of like health, life, death, what that means. And I just kept thinking, I had a conversation, actually, a very brief conversation with Queen Afua. She was doing, you know, that she does these like Black Girls Rock Camp live IG lives. And
I didn't know she was on IG.
yes, and before she did that, she was actually doing these calls where they were like Zoom calls, but they were phone calls. So it was like groups from all around the country, and then it was her teaching. So that was my first time actually speaking with her, and you know, she was kind of impromptu, almost giving like a reading to people. And so one night I'm sitting here and I'm musing over these things, and just out of nowhere, I was like, you know what? I remember her saying to me, she felt my energy, and she said, you're as light as a feather. And I was like, oh, blessed Ase. Like, thank you. Because like,
Were you worried about that way?
I wasn't worried, but I was like, wow, I'm so surprised that she could pick that up just through the telephone, you know? And I was like, man, that's some beautiful energy right there. And while I'm sitting here musing, I remembered that, and I was like, man, you know, like I do, it's my intention to, like, if it's my time, whenever it's my time, that I am as light as a feather, even in my current day, in my presence, in my 3D self, that I am still as light as a feather. And I said, if it is my time, whenever it is my time, that you can always call on me. I'm your benevolent ancestor, Joy Rosa. And let me tell you, if you call on me, I will Shaolin monk the fuck out of anybody that stands way.
Yes. I love it. I love bringing that goddess warrior in.
You gotta have a little Kali with your Shakti, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. That reminds me of Sister Brain was talking about my name, and she's like, I always correct people on your name because I want them to know it's JoyMaat. And I said, don't worry about it. I said, I can recognize what people are ready for if they can only say part of my name, if they mispronounce a part of my name, because those are vibrations. It's a whole vibration that comes to joy.
Yes.
So if you say joy, I say, okay, you're just ready for joy.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you're ready for Maya, you know, it's like a whole lot that comes with that. So,
we're bringing all of that to this table. Look at this. This is there's the red table, then there's this cosmic table right here.
Cosmic table. Full of joy, too.
Filling up with the joys.
Love.
Yes, love.
Oh, grateful for the space with you.
I always thank you. You too. I really appreciate this. And also just even going into the frequencies of joy is actually a really high frequency. I can't remember like on the scale of what, but you know, I think, what is it? Love is like 432 or something. And joy, I think, is somewhere in the like, you know, 6 or 7s. Like something like incredibly high.
I just praise it. Yeah. That's where we're talking about earlier, like, you know, of realizing when people come to us, if they are, you know, how they come to us, if they're not, you know, if they're not ready for it, or if they, you know, whatever it is. I'm probably at that place too of recognizing, joy isn't for everybody. Not everybody is in that place to even receive joy.
Hello.
I was at a place one time in my life where I wasn't able to receive that name or in that vibration.
Yes.
Yeah. So that explains it all. It being at a 7 something and someone is somewhere else on a 4. I get it. You know, I'm still gonna bring the 7, but you know. Sorry, we'll work it out.
So good. So good.
Thank you for that. I just love you. Love you.
I love you too. Thank you. Facts, hard facts. Yes. These are great. Do we have any questions? Are
like
there any?
Rose oil. Looks like rose oil. Is that
I think like joy, the vibration of joy, or not everybody's ready for joy. I think that was when that popped up. Maybe not though. Let's see. This is good. Kissing the phone.
Yeah, we got, let's say, like 10 more minutes. Somebody want to ask questions, or we can log off early. Y'all got any beautiful questions? I see a lot of my beautiful family from Greensboro on here.
Hey, 336, 336.
Hey.
Now, see, I miss home because I was in Charleston until I was about 17, and then I moved to Greensboro right away. So that's home to me.
Yeah.
And I really, really miss it. And then before I moved out here, I was in Asheville where you are. So it was just kind of like ships in the night, but I'm thankful for this. Yeah.
And it's divine alignment, how we connected through people that we knew in both areas. So
yeah, shouts to Fahim at Sensuous Sense and Santos Local Soul.
Yes, shout out. All right, yes, representing. Well, love, sis. I'm so grateful. We will always continue to chat anytime you want to come back on here.
Yes.
Out.
Great.
Follow Joy Rosa. You want both your pages out?
Yeah, Earthworks Acupuncture. Yeah, Earthworks Acupuncture is my acupuncture page. I'm currently located in Portland, Oregon, but I'm coming back to the 336 very soon. So
awesome. Yes.
Yes. Yes. The meta needle. Let's go.
All right. Well, peace and love. Y'all know where to tune in on Tuesdays. Tuesday Tea. We'll see you back next week. Love. Peace. Be love.
Peace, love.
And live through.
Unity. Peace.